You know, one thing that's difficult to do is to show how I'm using Ableton live, but tonight I'm going to take you with me to band practice and patch into my in-ear mix so you can hear exactly what we're doing. I'll capture some screen recordings as well, and that way you can see what's going on. You'll hear the click and the loop and the guides and my talkback mic, MD mic, so you'll be able to hear what's going on with the band and how we use Ableton live. So before we get into some footage from last night and some recordings from my in-ear mix, I want to talk about why I decided this weekend to use arrangement view mostly instead of session view. In the last video, we talked about why I love session view so much and I raved about it. This week, we did a few things differently and it actually made arrangement view the best choice. And so what I hope you see in these videos with Ableton is that it's not about one or the other. It's really about using whatever tool that you need to support the task that you're doing the best. And so for me, I want to be fluent in both of those languages, session view and arrangement view. So when the time comes, I can use what's right and I'm not stuck using one or the other. And here's why I use session view. Let's go through the list of songs that we did and really why I picked arrangement view for all of those songs. Number one, we did the song Ready or Not by Hillsong, which has a lot of time change, especially in the beginning, really up until about halfway through the song, the tempo fluctuates a lot. And so if I put that song in session view, it would want to slave that to a master time. And it just would get confusing. It'd be too easy to get off and too easy to get lost. And so I started the service in arrangement view.
Chorus 1, drums in.
There's no place like His presence. There's no time like it now. Everyone, 2 or 3 of us, count Him in here and now.
Ending.
Let's do cymbal swell here.
Yeah, come on, and CC, put your hands together today if you believe that God has already come and He's...
Now, one thing that arrangement view is much better at than session view is handling time and tempo changes. And in this set, we took one song, our second song, Sea of Victory, and then connected that to the chorus of Resurrecting, another elevation worship song. We put them in the same key and made it to where the ending of Sea of Victory would flow right into the kind of first down chorus of Resurrecting. It really just took me about 5 minutes to make that happen. Actually, let me show you how I did that in Ableton. So in Ableton, all that I had to do was take those tracks from Sea of Victory right here. You can see that we're ending the song. There's kind of the last 4 counts. The drums kind of kick out at the beginning of that last measure, and we're already getting into the chorus of Resurrecting. So now we're into that song, and it was easy to do that in arrangement view. And here's a clip of how that actually went in practice. 5, 6 spider 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Your name. Yeah, that's good. All praise will rise.
Chorus.
So the front half of the service really was out of arrangement view, and it was easier to do that way for this weekend. That doesn't mean I'm going to keep running it in arrangement view, but it just shows you how flexible Ableton is. And for me, the question is not which view is better, it's which view is better for what I'm doing at that moment. So a lot of times it's session view. If I'm playing keyboards, I'm much more likely to run it in arrangement view. If I'm playing guitar, I really need to run it in session view because I just can't look at the screen as often, and it's easier just to kind of have my launch controller set up with a lot of buttons and keys. Whereas if I'm playing keys, I have a little bit more freedom. It's easier to come back to other places in the song visually when I'm playing keys. So that's just a personal preference thing. Again, however you're doing. You also saw in this video me directing the band, giving them reminders, giving them some dynamic changes, reminding them of what's coming up. Again, part of being an MD is just just anticipating what your band needs to hear about and helping them accomplish that. Again, they have the click and the guide in their ears. They don't have to have me because they all practice and they're aware of what they're doing. But as the MD, I'm kind of helping things glue together and feel good. And if we could push a little more than the song dictates, then we're going to do that. And maybe we need to pull back a little more than the song dictates as well. There's freedom to do that on the fly, and I'm helping them do that so they can just worship and play and enjoy what they're doing and play to their best ability and not have to worry as much about some of those other things. I'm thinking about that and walking them through those steps. And again, doing it in arrangement view this time was the easiest way to do it. Now let's talk about the end of the service, because at this time I actually did switch back to session view for this because we went around to resurrecting, and we're going to just tag that bridge. By your spirit I will rise from the ashes of defeat. Like, we're going to tag that bridge at the end of the message, and all that I really need is a flow click and a pad to keep us all together. And so you're seeing here on the screen, I'm at the end of the message. Again, all those keyboard sounds that you're hearing are patched directly through Ableton. I'm not using Mainstage or any other onboard stuff. All that is through Ableton, and using a Korg Nano Control 2 to control those sounds and parameters. I'm getting pretty happy with it. I'm not 100% there, but I decided a few months ago, instead of getting Mainstage and working in another system,
to me for humanity is because of the mercy that Charles Octavius Booth has all of those generations before. And so that's the story for us, and that's the challenge for us where I'm going to lay in those things.
and now we're kind of in a scheduled time. We're in a, in a flow state, coming in together. I'm going to bring the band with me in. We kind of use numbers like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3 to kind of help us build those sections as we're going. So if I told the band, hey, we need to get to a solid 2, they know what that means. If I say we need to get to 2.5, that's the driving beat. We're getting really building, getting somewhere. And then for this weekend, we're going to build into that chorus of resurrecting. That's going to be kind of how we end the message. That's kind of the response moment. And so it was easier to do that in session view because I just needed an infinite flow click. Nothing was really timed out. Nothing was going to start at a certain measure or start at a certain time. I just needed something that I could quickly turn off and on for flow.
That is me in this moment. Jesus, all across this space, there is a generation that is rising.
Yeah, we're
There
getting
is
close.
a people that is rising full of faith, is multipliers, that by your spirit, by your design, we say yes to you and step into new life with you.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, by your spirit I will rise.
From the ashes of defeat, the resurrected King is resurrected.
It was easy to end in session view, start in arrangement view. They don't work against each other. But again, if you've not used Ableton a lot, you can't use them at the same time. Audio can only come from one view or the other. They don't work together really at all. They hardly talk to each other other than to be a little bit confusing. So again, you can't use both of them at the same time, but you can use both of them in a session or in a service or a show or whatever you're using. Hey, I hope that this video was helpful learning about arrangement view and session view. I know we've been really heavy on session view because I feel like there's not enough content about session view, but again, I do love arrangement view. It does work for me and it can work for you as well. If you like these videos, please subscribe, like them, turn on notifications, all the YouTube things. We've had some really cool growth over the last few weeks, people finding our videos from search. So if this is interesting to you, share it with your friends. If you're friends with someone who is a worship leader, who is a musician, who's a music director, and they use Ableton, send them these videos. Get in contact with me. I'd love to connect with them. I'm always interested in talking with people about Ableton and about worship and about live music. So thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you next time.